Ready na po ba si checker, ang ating dalawang checker? By the way, my dear students, for the fourth year students, we have two sections for this one. We have math and science. Okay, so they are first year math and science major sila. So it means that they are a lot. Marami sila dito sa isang klase. But don't worry, may mag-help naman sa inyo yung kanilang class managers. They have their class managers here in their section. So you will not have problems with them. At saka mababait naman sila. So no problem. Okay, so now let's begin. Where are the class managers? Are you here for the science majors? Are you here? Okay, how about the mathematics major?
Here po.
Okay, thank you very much. Nag-raise pala ng hand si Joy Ann. So let us now begin our discussion by asking this. Where did we stop? What is our last lesson? What is our last lesson? Yes, Joy Ann, you're raising your hand. Okay, hindi nagsagot si Joy Ann. Josel Bernardo, what is our last lesson? So you're raising your hand.
Ma'am, about po sa formal way and informal way po.
Formal way and informal way ng nakikipag-usap. Okay, thank you. Kaylene, how about you?
Ma'am, about po sa intrapersonal and interpersonal.
Okay, intrapersonal and interpersonal. Very good. Kim Mendoza, do you want to add anything else?
About sa ma'am, small group, public communication po.
Okay, small group. Very good. Regina de la Cruz.
Yung public communications po, ma'am. Sila po yung mga different types of communications.
Okay, thank you. Keanu.
Ma'am, yung tamang way po ng use po ng communication.
Okay. Tamang way ng communication for example, teka lang. So for example, kung kay Nino, this type of communication is better. Okay. Paulien, last one.
Ma'am, yung paggamit po ng honorifics and courtesy titles po.
Okay, so you also learn about the different honorifics. Ayan, kagaya ng PhD, using of doctor, using of Miss, Mrs., Madam. Okay, so those are the different things that we have discussed last time. So, very good. And those sa chat box, so type of communication, types, different. Okay. Okay, very good. So now let us begin our discussion. So last time we have discussed different types of communication. Now what we'll have is the communication in its diversity, because we will discuss different communication strategies. So diversity, so marami tayong alam, you could be anywhere, anything, ayan. Don't worry, next meeting we'll have culture naman. So what are the different communication strategies? It vary in use and manner, of course. Kaya nga strategy siya. The strategy the learners will use depends on large on the concept of idea being communicated about. And the strategies be done online, video, audio, visual, and written. So this means that each communication strategy will be different for different persons, kagaya na pinag-usapan natin before. And also different if we're looking for tawag dito, even if we're looking for we're using the different modes, like for example face-to-face, written. Okay, so teka lang, I ask visit. Okay, so yun yung mga different communication strategies. And you can say na the reason why last time nahirapan tayo, I think most of us nahirapan sa pagpalit because of the pandemic. It's hard for us that last sem because we need to transfer from face to face to online, which means that we need loads. Okay lang manood, mag-marathon Walang problema mag-marathon ng movies because it's leisure purposes. But when it comes to studying that you're required to, it is very strenuous sa ating mga mata. So, dapat, as a teacher, we have different strategies from that part, this kind of things. So, there are different types of communication strategies. We have that, again na naman, the non-verbal, verbal, face-to-face, verbal, distance, so written, formal, and informal. So I think this is just a review of what we have discussed last time. So let us begin with the formal type. This type of communication is also referred to as the official communication, of course, and covers for gamut of verbal expression that address a formal need, and it is conducted through a predetermined channel. For instance, a large number of interaction one makes within one's profession. For example, the legal expressions of formal communication. So formal communication kapag of course we're serious. Okay, so we already know that. And it follows a particular communication protocol. So it means that for example, you're talking to your boss, so there especially some boss meron they prefer something na they don't want to be addressed this way. So there are company rules. That's why you need orientation for every company. This is how the boss wants to address. This is what's formal. This is what they want. So that's one. So written forms which are provided based on the oral conversation in minutes of a meeting or a seminar can be recorded for transcription. So whenever you have this kind of formal type, you need to record for minutes of the meeting. This could also be considered a reliable source of information because it is formal and most people are following the standards. So this is a formal type. Okay, so formal communication forms the core of one's professional life. And as a writer, it is important to learn formal writing to succeed and advance. Of course, one can excel in this type of communication when he begins clarifying the purpose of this communication. So as you can see, my dear students, in a formal communication, that is what you're using when you are in an academic setup or maybe in a company, which is very hard. But if you're and it will make your professional life better. Because if you will treat everyone formally and you know when to handle things, your boss will say, "Oh, good job. You're very professional. You're very good at this." Okay. So, iba kasi yung tingin dun sa mga tao na parang pabara-bara kumilos. Like, they do not know where to stop, where to begin. Yan. So, this will, if you know this type of formal communication, you're better with this type of formal communication. Of course, people will believe in you. They will see, magaling. Okay. Next, when he follows, okay, when a person, when siya mag-formal type, when he follows a well-defined structure for his audience to easily understand his message. So even if it is formal, it's still easy to access. When he keeps his tone open, professional, friendly, when he ends up reiterating what he expects to happen in communicating, and when he thanks his audience for listening. So sometimes it's like this. My dear students, there's a big difference between without respect and being friendly tone. Okay? So for example, there's a big difference also with informal speaking rather and friendly tone. So for example, when we say informal, you're using a lot of informal language or a lot of colloquial terminology in the company. It's not professional. Ma'am, ano ibig sabihin? So for example, lousy siya tignan. Kasi, why are you speaking that way? This is a formal, this is standard way. Niloloko mo ba kami? So some kind of that, if we will use informal. Pero, when it comes to friendly, it's like, this is what I always tell people of in PCM, that you need to have a friendly tone, a relaxed tone, so that you still have confidence. If you could practice this one, especially for the future teachers like you guys, if you could practice having a happy tone, a friendly tone, yet a commanding one, that would be perfect. So, yung sabihin mo, ang gulo, no? It's hard to process this kind of communication. But if you do, if you figure out how to do it to yourself, na commanding pero friendly,
it will make you easier because people will like you, people will like your confidence, and they will admire you, and you will get good results. So let's have the informal type. So of course it is popular. Why? Because well, we all have this kind of communication, often performed by word of mouth, the transfer of information. This type of communication is unofficial, yet provocative information, spontaneous and free flowing, and is not restricted by any formal structure or standard. So this is very why is it popular? Because we're using what the people want, right? What the people would like to want, would like to hear, and whatsoever. So, kaya siya very popular. It is for the mass. So this type of information is also, of course, less reliable and not so accurate. A communication channel that spreads like wildfire, as there are no formal rules to follow, is considered informal. So most of the posts on Facebook is not formal because especially the chismis. It's not formal, okay? So do not always believe with those kind of things. So it is mostly oral with no documentation. Evidence is informal. Because of this, many underestimate the significance of informal communication and are considered just a hearsay. So like, I'll give you this. For example, let's have this in a company or in a school. So gawin natin na school setup, okay? So school setup, kunwari. It is informal. For example, one of your students, their future students, they will say, ma'am, si sir, baba magbigay ng grade, tapos may favoritism siya. Kasi lagi niyang pinapaboran, kunwari, si Marvin. Si Marvin lagi niyang pinapaboran, tapos kami ni Jackie, lagi lang kaming hindi niya kami, parang nilalait niya kami. Minsan may mga ganun bata, it's normal. And then, you'll say, okay, sige, pwede ba, Jackie, gawa kayo ng formal letter? And then, kindly sign it, and kung ano yung nakikita nyo with the evidence and sort of. Now, they won't. Most of them will say, oh, yoko nga, baka po maano ko. So, why? If a person do not like to put a written, kasi pag di-written yan, dinocument yan, ginawa siyang formal, ginawa siyang standard, yung pagrereklamo, at least yon, they themselves, and they signed it. It means that it is true based on what they know, and kahit saan sila mapunta, it is true. Now, if they do not want to sign it, it's informal, nadinig mo lang, tas, paano pag pinaniwalaan mo siya? Or, for example, you did not observe, naniwala ka lang, kinalat mo. What will happen to you? Mag-aaway lang kayo ng teacher na yun, ni Sir. Okay? So, do not always believe in this kind of things. Because the stories will always have two sides. Especially, my dear students, pag nandun kayo sa school. So, all stories will have two sides. That's why you need to know the difference between the two, the formal and informal type of communication. So, wag kayo naniniwala sa hearsay. Okay? So, masyado tayong masaya. And ang dami na ngayon ginagamit ang publicity just to have a lot of money. So, let's not be a victim of those kind of information. But despite of these drawbacks, a lot of people will say, hindi totoo yan, it's not reliable source, and sort of may drawback siya. However, informal communication is considered user-friendly and hence offers huge advantages when used wisely. This type of communication, however, serves well when one wants to control or encourage positive opinions, ideas, and expressions without making them seem like they have been thrust upon with ideas. So the problem with this one, the good thing muna about this one, for example, you use a social media site in order to want to promote a positive thought for encourage other people to believe in this kind of things, which is true, or maybe some experiments have been done, or a lot of things. Ang daming positive ng informal type ng lalo sa social media. A lot of people are being helped. In what manner? So, paano ma'am? For example, we don't even know. A lot of dogs are already helped. Okay? Marami nang naampong aso. And marami nang na-report na cases because of this kind of information. But, The problem with this one is if the information lacks. Marami nasisirang tao because of this kind of information on online. It's not good, of course. Hindi yan maganda. So that's why, and some of us are victims of this one. We shared misinformed, some of us shared and believe, ay, ganun pala tong taong to. Diba? Minsan. Sometimes we have this kind of thing. So, ito yung mga problem sa kanya. So, let's have one of my favorites, face-to-face. So, oral to face-to-face type is the most common, of course, the most powerful type of communication. It is a direct sending of message, can be formal or informal or seminar. Okay, so a lot of things. This type of communication gets better with practice. The more one practices with awareness, the more he is in control of one's oral expression. So actually, this is one of the problems that you will face. Why? Because it's hard for you now to go in front and report. Okay. Diba? Mahirap na mag-report ngayon. Kasi, kasi wala na kayong practice. My dear students, some of your classmates are now confident because they keep on using this thing. So, practice lang yan. Ma'am, bakit po kayo, hindi na kayo nahihiya? Through practice. So, that is the reason why, if you want to be a better communicator, you need to practice a lot of things. So, you can get from different inspirations. You could search for a lot of things. As long as you could practice it, incorporate it, well, that would be better. This type of communication is very engaging that one cannot rehearse no matter how hard it tries. So, for example, okay, sige, ganito, sabi mo sa sarili mo, okay, sa seminar, I will say, hep, hep. Okay, kaso nga lang, it's out of context, walang nag-hooray. Pero sa practice mo, nag-hep, hep ako, pero may nag-hooray. Let's use the best. Okay, our lesson plan. Okay, yan. Ako, lesson plan. Nilagay mo sa lesson plan, magdadasal sila, arrange ng chairs. Ang sasabihin ng bata, for example, you ask question, do you have any question? And then the kid will say, yeah, no ma'am. Pero nagtanong sila, hindi ka handa sa tanong. Minsan ganun, di ba? And sometimes, sasabihin mo na, okay, so, etong example na to, 3 example lang, alam na ng mga bata. Tapos, practice mo lahat. Then, tinanong mo sila, did you understand? Ma'am, hindi po namin gets. So, sometimes it's not fixed. The face-to-face, it's not fixed. That's why you need to prepare, but be open to spontaneity. Okay, so you should know, okay, sige. Okay, more questions. Okay, so that's why it's practice. Even if you rehearse it a lot of times, you need to practice. That's why for those who will have demonstration teaching, we need to practice a lot. Hindi pwede yung isang, demo. Hindi pwede yun. Kasi mararatel ka, hindi mo ka sanay or whatsoever. So, my dear students, if you want to be, especially your students, if you want to be a better teacher, you need to practice. If you want to be a better communicator, why don't you turn on your mics and try to communicate? Ma'am, nasa-shy po ako. Wala tayong magagawa. If you always say, I'm too shy, you will never learn. You should start by opening up. Ganun din sa face-to-face class. The listener can speak back to its audience in oral communication, so enabling a two-way communication, which is, of course, what we want. So, for superior face-to-face communication, a person would always meet the eyes of his audience and practice in the mirror. Actually, this is very helpful. I've been doing this before nung may laban pa ako for storytelling. So, kinakausap ko yung sarili ko, ganun. Like that. So, kumakanta ako in front of the mirror. So, I'm looking at my eye because eye to eye is very important. And that's what I'm training. When I train my students for declamation, oration, extemporaneous speech, we go to, pero we go, I told them, okay, lock the restroom. Nilock yung restroom. But right, that's true. I locked the restroom. Nasa harap sila ng salamin. Isa-isa sila. So, pumapasok sila doon kasi sa restroom, usually malaki ang mirror. So, nagpe-perform sila doon. Tapos nadidinig nila yung boses nila kasi kulob yung restroom. Tapos nakatingin lang kami. Nakikita nila yung gestures nila, how they project and sort of. Sometimes you could video. Okay, try to video yourself. So during the demonstration teaching, it will be better if you have a mirror so at least you can see yourself. Or you have two gadgets so that you can see yourself. Okay? So it is suggested that one has to be ready to practice before conversing and persuading his audience. He can have an active discussion by asking questions, getting their opinion, and encouraging expression of new ideas. So actually, this would be a better way to let other people to participate. If of course you tell them it's fine to participate, it will be better if you will ask questions so we could address it properly. So you could be you could say that to your audience, and of course you need to mean it. Okay, it will also require for the speaker to become an active listener in order to have a productive communication process. You need to listen to your audience. And you need to observe. Okay, do you still understand me? Or do I make sense? Like that. So you could ask the students those kind of questions. We also have the oral distance type. So this is what we're doing right now. So oral siya, pero distance. So communications made the world a smaller and more accessible place. Some of you, baka nandyan kayo sa Maynila. Nasa Maynila. Nasa province or whatsoever. Some of you, ito, nadidinig mo ako. Sarado na naman tayo ng pinto. Okay. So, yun. So, we have a lot of things. Pwede tayo nasa ibang bansa. And seminars all around the universe talaga, no, are already being made because of this one. So, this is the oral distant type of communication. So, the speaker's tone, voice, and pace delivery take priority over the expression. So, of course, I always tell my students, especially the demos, magda-demo sa atin, you need to have, I don't want a monotonous voice. Like, for example, nasa oral distant type ka na nga, tapos kung magsalita ka pa, the speaker's tone of voice and pace of delivery take priority over the expression. For effective oral communication over distance, one must... Imagine that! Di ka ba antokin doon? Okay. So, nakakaantok na nga itong ginagawa natin sa buhay. Tapos, ganun ka pa magpasa. Binasa mo pa. Sana pina-reading activity mo na lang sa mga bata. Okay? So, you need to be inanimate. You need to put some gestures. You need your voice to be different most of the time so that you could understand it. Okay, so if you could do some activities, you could ask questions, and a lot of other ways you could do that. Okay, when he fails to listen to his audience, he finds that people in the discussion attempt to speak at the same time. Okay, so ay nahayaan na lang niya. Minsan ganon, lalo na pag yung seminar, sobrang daming tao. And this one too, dapat continuous, lagi ka magtatanong sa audience mo. Okay, so I think yun na yun lahat. Okay. So, wait lang. Oh. Okay, so we also have written communication, pero distant. Bakit ko sinasabi yun? Okay, as ano lang, written communication is non-verbal, happens through any word or written. May mali ako, wait lang. So, the voice. Okay. It should be distant. Written communication also, before I forget, they are the written like letters. Okay, so ito letters, we need to practice writing letters. And we need to have, okay, so you could have your own template for this one para mas maintindihan nyo. So let's have the verbal versus non-verbal. The springboard of any personal business relation is effective communication. Always believe that. The ability to understand and use nonverbal communication or body language is a powerful tool that can help one to connect with others, express the ideas, intended information. So we could say nonverbal is also important. When one interacts with others, there is a continuous giving and receiving of wordless signals. So these are through nonverbal behaviors, movements, and the intensity of the voice, the speech, the eye contact, and will send a strong message. So when once stop speaking, none in silence, sending messages does not stop. Still communication verbally. So before we move on with non-verbal communication, may I ask, okay, may I ask everyone, okay, stop sharing muna tayo. Okay, anyone, may I ask, for you, if you don't want to listen to the speaker, as in, it could be your friend, sa friend na lang muna, wag na muna sa teachers, okay? Sa friend, yung parang, ayoko na makinig. I'm tired. How do you show that you are tired without telling the person that you are tired? Yes, Juliana.
Gestures po, ma'am.
Bigyan mo ako ng gestures na yung usual mong ginagawa pag ayaw mo ng kausap.
Ma'am, mag-open pa po. Ay, mag-open.
Nag?
Ma'am,
Okay.
Sorry po. Parang ganun.
Gumaganon ka? Okay. Usually sa friends mo. Juliana.
Kunwari po, may pag-uusapan po kayo.
Okay. Okay, get. So, parang, pwede ba tama? Okay, so thank you, Juliana. Yes, okay, that's one. That's one thing you could raise that. Joshua Platero. Thank you, Juliana. Nasaan na si Joshua? Joshua?
Ma'am.
Yes. Okay, wala si Joshua Platero. Ay, nasaan na? Nandiyan na po ba? Yes, Trisha. Teka lang at ang dami naka-raise hands. Okay. Si Joshua po ba ay nandito? Nawala si Joshua? Okay, Trisha Penes. How about you? Ayan, open mic, open cam. Paano?
Ano lang po, yung ngingitian ko lang po siya, hindi po ako magsasalita, tapos tango lang po ng tango.
Okay. So, tango lang ng tango. Tapos, di ka na magsasalita. Okay. So, ganun pala ginagawa ni Trisha. Thank you, Trisha. Brian Monieva. Nakapalumbaba daw si Joshua Platero. Thank you, Joshua. Nasaan na si Brian? Yes, Brian.
Ma'am, I'll look on my watch po and I'll use my cell phone po.
Okay, so you will look at on your watch and use your phone. Okay, that's one, two, ano. Minsan hindi effective yun. Kasabihan ka pang bastos, ano, pero minsan dire-diretso pa din sila. But that's one. So sometimes I do that to Brian. Okay. Geraldine Hipolito, how about you?
Ma'am, ano po, minsan po, parang ang basis nga po, ano lang po, hindi ko po siya pinapansin. Parang nakangiti lang po ako kapag kinakausap siya. Then, kung minsan naman po, alimbawa, super close mo yung kausap mo pero ayaw mo na sa conversation, parang opo ka na lang ng opo. Agad na lang agdi sa lahat ng sinasabi niya.
Okay,
pero
so agad na lang. Okay, sige. Parang hindi ka na nagtatanong. Okay. So, not asking questions and then smiling. Okay. Rosemary Tubanya, how about you? Rosemary?
Yeah. Ma'am, minsan po, ma'am, iniiba ko po yung usapan, magsi-cellphone po ako.
Magsi-cellphone ka or pag hindi pa din, iniiba mo yung usapan?
Hindi po, minsan po, tititigan ko lang po siya hanggang magsawa po siya na, tumahimik na po.
Okay. Okay, so wala kang ginagawa, tititigan mo lang siya, tapos hindi ka nagre-response. Okay, very good, very savage. Ano? Mukhang, Zia, how about you?
Ano po, mag-a-agree na lang po sa sabihin na tapos mapapasabi ka na lang, ganun,
Ganun? O talaga? Ganun. Okay, very good. Thank you, Zia. Jeremy, how about you?
Mama ko po, kung ka-close nyo naman po, kahit bigyan nyo lang po ng isang look na parang ayaw nyo po siyang munang kausap, maintindihan nyo na po.
Okay, so there's a look na ayaw mo na siyang kausap, na tamad ka na. Very Joy Tablan.
Ma'am, sa akin po, nagsasabi na lang po ako ng, okay, Tapos po, medyo lilingon po ako sa gilid po para po masasense niya po na medyo ayoko na pong makinig. Ganun po.
Okay, so lingon sa gilid. Okay. Okay, thank you. Joy Ann Carpio, how about you? What do you do?
Ano po, ma'am? Nagcha-change topic po ako. Minsan po inaaya ko po na kumain ganun or aayain ko po kahit saan ganun. SM
Okay. Okay. So, niyaya na lang, ano. Sige, tara, kain tayo. Okay, sige. Na-imagine ko yan, ha. Kailin!
Ma'am, ako yung tapos, yumuyo ko po, pero tumatango pa rin po ako.
Okay. So, parang antok na siguro itsura mo pag gano'n. Ay, yumuyo ko na lang. How about Jocelyn?
Ako po sasabihin ko po ng diretso po.
Hindi ka mag-verbal. Paano sinasabi mo pag nakakahiya kasi yun, di ba minsan?
Sabihin ko po, tinatamad na akong ganun po, kausap ka.
Napakasakit naman yan. Okay, tinatamad na akong kausap ka. Okay, sige, that's nice. That's one thing. Okay, thank you. Miss Bernardo Ducel.
Ma'am, pare po, may sinabi po siyang topic. Sasagutin ko po ng isang beses, tapos tatawagin ko po yung iba kong kasama para po ma-divert po.
Okay. So, tatawagin mo iba mong mga kasama. Okay, ayos yan. Kim, how about you?
Ano po ma'am, gaya po nung sabi po ni Carpio kanina, parang i-change topic din po. Parang ano pong gagawin ko, parang yung meron po akong kaibigan na ireto sa kanya hanggang sa maiba na po yung topic, hanggang sa tumigil na po siya kakadakdak.
Dakdak talaga no? So, inis na talaga. Very good. Angelica Alejo. Tatapusin natin tong pili.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ako po, kasi po, di ba po, mga bakla po mga tropa ko. Ang ginagawa ko po kasi, ma'am, ini-straight to the point ko po siya, sasabihin ko, dami mong sabi sa live, tapos ganun po. Tapos maya-maya po, yung isa kong tropa, dadudugtukan po ako. So, ngayon po, mangyayari, stop po siya.
Okay. So, nagtatawag ka din ng kakampi. Okay. So, dami mong sabi sa live. Okay, sige. That's one. Keanu, how about you?
Ma'am, ganun din po. Kasama ko din kasi mga gay din po. Kapag sasabihin ko na lang po, marami pa akong mga workloads pa para magiging po yung mga kwentuhan po namin.
Okay, marami kang workload.
Din po na magbabasa na lang ako ng habit.
Okay.
Yes po, ma'am.
Napaka-savage pala, no, pag mga gays ang kasama. Christine.
Pag tumatango na lang po. Tapos pagka-close ko naman, sinasabi ko po na ang haba naman ng chika, ganun.
Okay. So, tumatango, tapos pagka-close, tinediretsa. Julie.
Ihikab po, ma'am.
Nakakahawa naman ang hikab, ano? Pag humikab ka, mahihikab din yung kasama mo. Okay, that's one. Celeste.
Minsan po gumagawa po ng mga excuses na sabihin po, sige mamaya na lang, or sabihin niyo may gagawin ako para po makaiwas sa kung ano man yung sasabihin niya.
Okay, so may gagawin pa ako eh. Okay, para ka palang si Keanu, workload naman yung kanya. Okay, nice. Catherine Ramirez.
Mama ko po minsan po, sasabihin ko na lang po, okay, tas tutulala.
Okay, na-imagine ko yon. And last one, Desiree.
Ma'am, kapag kasi mga friends mo talaga yung kausap mo, alam nila kapag nasa mood kang kausapin sila or hindi. Kaya parang gagawin ko na lang kapag wala na ako sa mood, tataas ko na lang yung kilay ko bilang response na sinasabi nila. Tapos alam na nila, syempre, kaibigan mo sila, alam na kaagad nila yun na hindi ka naman ganun makipag-usap. Kaya stop sila na rin mismo yung titigil nung nila, sinasabi nila. Tapos,
okay.
Kayaan na lang kumain.
Kailangan kumain. Okay. So, very good, the way you divert things, let's say some of you are savage, but I think some of you said that you usually do that with your friends. And tama yung sabi ng isa, as a friend, of course, you should know if your friend is still interested with the topics that you're saying. So, dapat tama naman yon. But there are times na hindi sila makapag-observe. It's hard for them to observe the um, it's hard for them to observe, to notice your behaviors. Okay. So, nonverbal communication is what you said without the verbal, of course. So, yung mata, titingin sa orasan, tataas yung kilay, and naghihikab. So, those are the non-verbal kasi hindi mo sinabi. Kanina, yung iba sa inyo sinabi nila. So, those are all verbal cues that you need to stop. I'm not listening. Okay, so now we have the non-verbal, which was what you said. So, kanya-kanya tayo ng non-verbal, especially, sabi nyo nga, depende po. Ma'am, pag friend, ganito. Okay. So, non-verbal is emotional awareness. It enables communicator to, one, accurately read the other people, including the emotions, their feeling, and unspoken messages that they are sending. So when someone send a message, oh, anong problema mo? Malungkot ka, no? No. Kasi sometimes, you know, when your friend is happy or your loved one is happy. So you could see especially if you are focused with this person of your life, so you know if they're not feeling well. It creates trust in relationships by sending non-verbal signals that match up with one's word. Bakit tayo nag-friend? O bakit tayo nakikipagrelasyon? But well, let's say, those, either dun sa dalawa. Because the person, the friends, or the partner that we chose could see that signals. Or we thought that they could see that. We trust them that they could see these different signals. Nakikita natin sila na, okay, dapat friend ko to eh. So nakikita niya, I'm sad. Nakikita niya that I am not interested anymore or whatsoever. So we are creating, you're trusting this relationship, this partner, this friend, that they could see you. Kasi there are times it's hard for us to talk to them, especially if our problems are very, 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 very heavy. And we can't talk to them. So we trust that they would notice. There's a tiny little thing that you're trying to hide, but you want your friends to notice. You want them to make you happy. Kasi nga friend mo sila or karelasyon mo sila. So respond in the ways that show others understanding and care. So imagine, my dear students, if all of the people around the world will just respond with this kind of very affectionate manner, everything would be okay. Like, okay, so medyo sad ka na, I will make you happy. And then sometimes when this happy person before became the sad one, I'll make you happy. Di ba? Parang kung ganun lang, kaso hindi. Some of us cannot notice this kind of things. And know if the relationship is meeting one's emotional needs, giving the option to either repair the relationship or move on. So sometimes when we break up, we break apart as a friend or in a relationship, it's part of the process as well. So you could see, I think we love each other, but our relationship is very toxic. And I want you to be happy, and I'm not happy too. We need to break apart. So this could be a friendship. Sometimes, diba, some friendships are very toxic, and some relationships are also toxic. Yun yung I'm not saying I'm pro, but yun yung sa ibang bansa, sa America kasi, most of them, medyo maano sila sa mental health. That's why in some relationship, maraming dong broken family because if they could feel that the emotional needs is not met, naghihiwalay sila. Unlike here in the Philippines, kakaunti lang eh, aside sa hindi pinapayagan. But usually, hindi siya masyadong bearing. Usually dito, pag ng babae, ng lalaki, puro ganun yung mga dahilan. But not kagaya doon na my emotional needs are not meant by my partner. Hindi siya masyado. Although, nasa batas na kasama yon, but hindi siya masyado. So, you need a lot of tests. So, one requires reading body language, managing stress, and recognizing emotions. Need one to better read nonverbal signals sent by others. So, let's talk about facial expressions. Man's face can express many emotions. Unlike bodily gestures, facial expressions are universal across culture to show someone else of happy. Ganun, nakakatawa ka, gano'n. Nakakawa na gano'n. Pag gano'n, hindi naman, di ba, pag kunwari sa Japan ka, ay, hindi pala gano'n yung masaya sa kanila. O ganun pala. Hindi pala yung masaya sa kanila. Hindi naman gano'n, di ba? Sa body language kasi, For example, di ba, may peace, pero sa ibang bansa, ang peace is not peace. It's hindi ganito, it's war. So, yun, iba-iba. But when it comes to facial expression, we know if someone is angry, hindi, ganun lang talaga yung mukha nun. Pero may mga iba naman talaga kasi na resting bitch face nga daw, ano? But still the same. The amount of eye contact. So, similar to facial expression, eye contact is also an important part of the nonverbal form. So, the way one looks at someone can communicate many things, including interest, affection, hostility, attraction. So, makikita mo parang nakaganon sa'yo. Ay, sabihin mo, ay, katakot, baka galit, gano'n, di ba? Or minsan, kanina pa siya makatingin sa akin. Uy, crush ka nun eh. O, di ba? So, minsan, gano'n. So, it depends. Okay? Some eye contact is very important. That's why yung eyes natin are a very important factor. And we always say that it is very important part sa atin. Why? When we're presenting, you need to look at the eyes. Okay? So, yung mga ganong level tayo. Okay. So, gestures also is very important. When gestures, we could one waves, hi, everyone. Kagaya ni Maya, dun sa Be Careful with that, hi, Sir Chief. Ganun siya, di ba? So, point, ikaw, ay, ayaw ng mga Pinoy na ginaganyan. Ikaw. Ayaw, bakit? Na-offend sila pag tinuturo-turo sila. So in other countries then, they do not want to yung turo. Okay, ayaw nila. Sabay, sino ba naman tinuro kang gano'n? Sana ko sinabi, siya po, di ba? Siya po ang mahal ko. Pwede kong gano'n, ano? Pero pag tinuro ka ng gano'n, di ba, nagagalit especially. Kaya mag-ingat tayo, wag tayo nagtuturo-turo. Okay? So, sometimes it's offensive. So, sometimes we use our hand gestures when we want to express, when we're very angry. Ganyan, di ba? Indians, okay, black people, sometimes they use gestures, but sometimes mannerism na. Like, for example, may ganun, may mga gumaganon-ganon ka, so kala mo nag-interpretative dance ka, but you need yung bawasan yung ganon. But sometimes, we need gestures to make a point. For example, when you present an article, you need to, minsan may ganon, kasi you're firm. Okay, so not just by your words, but also with your hand gestures. So, gestures are very important as well. So, gestures din, kagaya ng sabi niya, pag tinatamad ka lang kausap, tignan mo yung relos mo eh. Oh. Minsan yung phone, di mo naman talaga chinecheck, kaya lang gusto mong ganun, so that they could see, I don't want to talk to you, but we're not that close. So I could say na stop talking. Yeah, yung may mga ganun. So it's up to you. So, but different gestures, of course, have different cultures, different regions, iba-iba sila ng gestures. So you need to be very careful, especially if you will go to other country. Touch. Not all people want to be touched, okay? But some people, they want to shake hands. They love a timid tap on the shoulder. Kaya mo yan. Okay. It's fine, like that. It's nice, di ba? Some people would like to be tapped on the shoulders. Some wants to be hugged. I'm a hug person. I want to hug my students. Ganun ako. So, I love hugs. Okay, yun. But to some people, they don't want hugs. I remember I have a co-faculty. Of course, a lot of students, especially in junior high school, they love to hug their teacher in my school. Every time that he will be hugged, kasi lakas ng kiliti niya dito sa shoulders niya. So every time someone will hug, ganun siya. No. Avoid. So she doesn't want that. She doesn't like to be hugged. And of course, some people, especially those who are in sacred countries, they do not like to be touched. Especially if a male person will touch a female person, no. And before, during the Spanish era, minsan ma-hug ka lang ng lalaki, kasal na kayo. So, may iba, gano'n ang ginagawa nila. Okay, so, ngayon hindi na gano'n. Okay, iba na. So, before gano'n. So, depende sa culture. Reassuring slap on the back, yung gano'n lang, very good. Kaya minsan yung gesture, yung ginaganon mo yung likod na parang, tahan na, okay lang yan. Okay. And of course, pinch on the neck. Hindi sa kala. Okay. So, sometimes ganon. It depends. It depends on the person. Sometimes, nakikita ko sa mga sports, yung sa tap, sa palo sa puwet, for them, it's nice. But, try mo sa ibang lalaki. Sabihin, pasuntokin ka. Because sometimes it's offensive. Who wants that? Diba? So, but maybe if nakasanayan. Okay. So, touch is important. Kaya nga din, in education, we also have this TPR or total physical response. So, sometimes, the gestures, gusto ng mga bata that they will be tapped or maybe they could hold something kasi touch is very important too. Touch is the simplest type of communication and fundamental aspects of life. Hands are used to send wired message, to pat, to slap, to pinch, to strike, to hold, to embrace, or tickle. Usually, one uses this and other touching behaviors for a variety of reasons, from impersonal or random or very intimate or purposeful. So it depends. So all touches, of course, are received differently. Okay? So be careful din po if you are touched. Baka mamaya, you touch someone and you thought it's fine for them, tas nireport ka sa human resources because of sexual advancement. So you need to be very careful. And you cannot say, wala akong ginagawa dyan. Of course, it depends on the person. Okay? Pwede niyang sabihin na, you shouldn't touch me. I don't want to be touched. So before you touch someone, be sure that it's fine with them. Okay? One does shake hands to be social and polite. Like, for example, business deals, nag-shake hands sila, but not too tight. Okay, so sakto lang na hindi naman yung lousy na mababagsak yung kamay, hindi naman. So just end gestures, diba ganon. So aside from that, ayun, so a lot of things. And I think in some before, a kiss in the hands of the ladies from the guys is gentleman. But now try to do that, you'll be slapped on the face. Okay. Body movements. Ito kanina, you also said. So consider how people's perception are affected by the way they sit, they walk, they stand, and hold their head. So body movements send different messages. So since all of you are pre-service teachers, it's very important to have a good posture. Hindi yung papasok ka sa klase na kaganon, na nakaslouch ka, nahihiya. If I know that some of you will be, Ma'am, kinakabahan po ako. Ayoko po magturo. Okay, yes, of course, that's normal. But, never forget that it's normal. Okay? So, even if you're very scared, you need to stand up, chest out, be confident, and oh. Okay. So those things, okay? So you need to present yourself. Posture. So you need to be confident because especially some students are not as good as you. So they will check, hukot si ma'am, bakit? Siguro kinakabahan. Ano nga natin? Asarin nga natin. O di ba minsan may ganon. So I'm not saying all students are like that, but some are. Okay? Some are like that. You never know kung ano tumatakbo sa isip ng tao. So it communicates meaning. It also type of communication for a purpose. People interpret the meaning of someone's actions, although at times it's difficult to do. Interpretations may vary, especially when the communicator and audience come from different cultures. So, yun lang hihirap sa atin, future teachers, kasi different cultures, different regions. Sometimes it means like this. Sometimes it means like that. You didn't mean to hurt anyone, but you hurt someone because of your action. So, it depends. Appearance. My dear students, appearance is very important. Kailangan lahat ng teachers, Ma'am, kailangan ko bang maging kasing ganda ni Ann Curtis? Di naman. Kaya lang, look fresh. Okay, so, look fresh. Maligo ka bago mag-Google Meet. As a teacher, maligo ka. Oh, ma'am, magmukha kang malinis. Kahit man amoy safeguard kung wala kang pambili ng pabango. You comb your hair, know the style that you need to, use fresh clothes, iron clothes. Kasi actually, based on experience, not mine, but some of my co-teachers, may mga co-teachers kasi ko talaga na, I'm sorry if I will offend someone, diring-diri yung mga bata sa kanya. I will not mention anyone, but this should serve as a guidelines. Okay, so a bad example for you. So I have this co-teacher of mine who doesn't look neat. As in, he doesn't look neat. He doesn't smell neat. So you know what? You know what? Sa elementary, walang pakialam ang elementary dyan. Yayakapin pa din ng LM yan. But when it comes to high school, it's different because they could see you. Meron yun, no, naiwan niya yung flash drive. Imagine flash drive. Tapos, tinanong nung bata, kaninong flash drive to? Kay ano? Nasa teacher niya. Ay, yak! Tinapon. Walang gustong pumulat. So, imagine. The teacher is not around, of course. But still, they do not want to hold the things kasi it's not neat. And, if you will not be careful, magmumukha kang hindi naliligo in sort of dun sa harap ng mga estudyante mo. You will not look mabango and sort of, they will doubt you. Ma'am, may mga teacher nga dyan sobrang ganito, ganyan, 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 pero okay naman. Let me remind you, you are starting. Wala pa kayo ng degree na kagaya nung sa teacher. And we need to impress, we need to be confident. So now, some of you will say, Mama, gusto ko long hair. Especially sa boys. Long hair gusto ko Okay, then look for schools that accept long hair. But of course naman, tali mo naman. Or if you want to show your locks and sort of, make sure that it looks neat. Please, my dear students, make sure that it looks neat, hindi yung mukhang kasi you are in an academe, professional, may standard. Now, if some of you will say, this is me, this is what I want, this is how I express myself, it's fine. But if you want to change a school, hindi naman dapat ganon. Kasi, each school have their own standards. If some schools accepted this kind of standards, then go to that school. If not, hindi. Kasi especially, bagong teacher kayo. But for example, you're already established. So, kilala-kilala ka na, sobrang galing. Kahit mukha kang di naliligo, pero ang galing-galing mo talaga. So maybe that's the time. Well, it's up to them. If they will hire me, they hire me. Okay, siguro dun sa time na yon. But as of now, if you will apply to a school, you need to be neat. You need to dress properly. You need to, as a female, ma'am, ayoko ng makeup. Okay. Ayaw na ng makeup ni ma'am. Can you at least make sure that the students will medyo man lang kahit na, even if you're using clear skin, medyo mula-mula naman yung labi nyo. Kasi alam nyo, may mga teacher, sa babae naman tayo dumako, na as in blank-blank yung face nila. Tapos hindi pa sila, hindi pa sila yung maarte. So parang yung mga bata, naantok. So, inaantok sila kasi parang hindi colorful, tapos ganito, tapos nakakantok. So, we are our own, we are our own instructional materials, okay? So, we need to look beautiful, we need to be clean, we need to look fresh, so that the students, at least kahit paano, merong 5% na nanggagaling sa'yo na ang ganda ni ma'am, ang pogi ni ma'am, sarap pakinggan. Ay, yung mga ganung bagay, at least may 5% ka na dinadala mo sa school to help your students understand you. My God, you are junior high school teachers, so you need them. Pag college, bahala na yung mga estudyante. But still, you need to look fresh. If one is to wear suit while everyone wears casual, he's going to stand out a little too obvious. Too obviously, TOO. Looking best means wearing the top of the line of what everyone else is wearing. The look of the person can be changed, and this can intentionally be done to communicate meaning. So, for example, sabi nila, okay, teachers wear black. You said, I will wear silver. Okay, fine. At tingin mo, sobrang gwapo mo, sobrang ganda. No. You should wear the best black that you are allowed to wear. But wearing a different color, it means that matigas ang ulo mo. Okay? So, if you're planning to be one, you will wear a uniform, tapos ikaw hindi ka mag-uniform. Kung sinabing mag-pink, nag-blue ka, hindi ka kakaiba, hindi maganda ang ugali yon. Matigas ang ulo mo. Okay? Isa kang problemang tao. Meron kang problema sa buhay. Okay. Okay, lalo na kung may pambili ka naman or meron ka namang existing of that color. That's not good. That's not give a good meaning. Okay? Space, this one is very important, especially nowadays. One may feel uncomfortable during a conversation because the other person stands too close and invades one's space. Everyone needs physical space. Although the needs depend on the culture situation. Minsan, di ba, parang may mga tao, for example, kahit friends na kayo, ayaw mo yung hininga, yung dumadapo sa balat mo or ano, parang kahit hindi naman siya mabaho, pero diyan ka, okay? So, well, stop it. Okay, ganun. Minsan ganon. So, force field. Some people are like that. So, you need to, instead of invading their space, like, iba, ayaw na nga niya, please stop, do not hold me, stop, okay, dito ka lang, wag mo akong hawakan. Tapos niyakap pa, okay? Tapos tawa pa kayo ng tawa. So, that's not good. Anong gusto mo iparating sa buhay? Okay, na magaling ka, na pinaprank mo yung tao, na may space sa sarili. That's not good. You're not a real friend. You're a bully. Okay, so, of course, maintain the enough space that a person could use. Okay, so wag ka masyadong nag-invade ng mga gamit. Okay, pag hindi iyo, hindi iyo. Okay, so always remember that. He or she can use physical space to communicate many different nonverbal messages, including signals of intimacy and affection, aggression, and dominance. So, diyan nga lang di ba? Ngayon wala na kayo. Ang example ko sana is, for example, sa armrest. So, sa Meneses, we have armrest. Some people, they invade the space like, yung armrest, dun sa kabila, nilalagay mo pa yung kabila mo. And actually, nahihirapan dito yung medyo chubby kasi mahirap naman talaga. So, dapat nasa gilid ka or malaki yung spaces. But to some people, they keep their armrest clean and, this is their workspace, so you should not put your armrest. Tapos, ayun. So, you need to make sure na hindi kayo maglalapit kasi hindi naman sa maselan, but he or she is not comfortable. So, kasi yung iba, pilit pa rin inaano yung kamay. So, that's the personal space of your classmate. So, you don't need to put your armrest there. So, yung iba, ganyan. So, sometimes, we need to know the space allotted to us by a person so that they will not feel uncomfortable. So, pakikisama rin po yun. Nonverbal communication is rapidly flowing back and forth, so a process that requires full focus on the moment-to-moment experience. So, we need to improve our nonverbal communication para po dito. Now, aside doon, we have also the stress. Stress compromises the ability to communicate. When one is stressed, he or she is more likely to misread other people, send confusing or off-putting nonverbal signals, and lapse. Okay, as a friend or as a concerned citizen, we need to think, if someone is stressed, we need to give them space. We need to help them. Kesa yung sa pinipilit natin yung sa atin. Okay, so this is actually, kasi when you triggered something, yan yung mainit lagi ang ulo. Okay, so sometimes marami nagba-bottle up sa kanila. So as a friend or as a colleague, we must compromise with them. And as much as possible, if we could distress, use it. Okay, when stressed, it is best to take a timeout. The speaker has to take a moment to calm down before jumping back into the conversation. So my dear students, your classmates already told you, paano pag ayaw nila na pakikipag-usap? So those are the different things. Pag nakita mo na yung friend mo na, okay, tumitingin na sa relo, okay, nagpo-phone na, I should stop because I'm not entertained anymore. So my time has already ended. So maybe next time I will talk to this person with this topic or whatsoever. So that's part of it. So when we want to distress, we have a lot of things actually. For me, I have some anti-stress related. Ako talaga personally, one of my favorite anti-stress is massage. I do some massage. Kaya lang ngayon wala. Okay. But to some people, it's fine to have. Sometimes reading a book, Netflix, Praying is also one. Yoga, gym, a lot of things. You need, if you want to distress, you need to find your inner peace. Okay? So you could talk to your favorite person, you could hang out with your favorite person. So hindi ko na kayo tatanungin kung ano yung yung mga. So this is what I usually do. I talk to people, I pet with my dogs, I look at my tank, yung fish tank, and a lot of things. So there are some YouTube ideas, so you could do those things. A lot of things. Okay? So did you understand our lesson? Did you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
Yes
so
po. Yes po.
thank you. Thank you for listening. And before you leave the room, I want you to put, instead of reflection, um, for your takeaways, I want you to write down a tip for your classmates on how to remove stress. A simple ways that you use to remove stress. And after you type your answer, you can now go. The fourth year students, you can now go and take a rest. But the rest of the class, mag-type na po kayo ng inyong answers. And how to distress. Okay, so I want to know your answers before you go. So goodbye everyone. Fourth year, you may now go. Sige na, magpahinga na kayo. And for my first year students, please type your answers before you leave your meeting. Okay, so music. It's one. Totoo, Jeremy, malaking tulong ang music. Kaya nga lang, di ba minsan, I love drinking coffee, so like this one. I don't know if you're familiar with Friends. So this is my favorite. Netflix, sleeping, Bible, that's one. Magbasa ng Wattpad is also one. Okay, sleep, read some books, reading, pray, sleep, mag-alaga ng pet. Ano yung soak? Ano yung soak? Soak with warm bath, okay. You should. Distract yourself to something you forget. Eat, manood ng anime, pikit lang ang mata, makinig. Eat something that make you feel better. Oh, heal song. Okay, so I'll try that. For those persons with stress right now, keep on praying, sleep on time, drink water, and be positive thinker. Okay. Thank you. Making mga Wow, you make songs, Kirby? Kung pwede, pa-send naman sa GC ng sample. Watching movies and eating. Social support of friends. Keanu, this is true. Okay, one simple is to pray. Yes. Manood ng YouTube, makipaglaro sa alagang aso. Kahit sila minsan ang stress natin, ano? Para sa mga salan. Mas maganda manood ng K-drama. Home workout. Thank you, Joshua. Stress ko, dinadaan ko na lang po sa tulog. Okay. Movies. Be with someone who cheers you. Hanging out with my niece, playing with them, sleeping sometime. Okay. Watch twice MV. Ano yung MV? Movie? Okay. Twice movie. Okay. Minsan nagbabasa lang ng Wattpad, maglaro ng Discord movie. Yung Discord. Okay. What's this? YouTube watch. Tingnan natin yung senior mo. I'll check this one. Okay. What's this? Guided Hoff method, breathing. Oh, okay. So I'll play that later. Thank you, Timothy. Ako po makinig ng worship songs. Planet Shakers, nadidinig ko din yan. Kapag nababaling ko sa iba yung attention ko, okay, Wattpad, then try to meditate, okay? Cheer up ng twice. Makinig po ng music, reading and praying. Calm myself, okay, sleep, read, eat. Kumain na favorite foods. Korean drama. Fellow classmate. Favorite music, series, reading books, writing a poem. Ano yung sinid ni, So, isa, guided meditation. Yung isa, yung twice cheer up. Thank you. I'll listen to this later. Okay, thank you very much. Mag-workout po, tas maaga matulog. Okay. Makinig sa Okay, twice din. I think positive ang twice. Puro twice ang ginagamit ng iba. Play what kind of music? Relaxation music. I usually doesn't want to talk to anyone. Okay, so this is 1, 2. Okay, manga. I love manga. Stressful eating. Okay. Whenever I'm stressed, this is one of the things that I do. Read inspirational books, watching or listening worship songs, watching together, video call with friends, mag-TikTok. Okay, very good. The rest, please, you may now go. Lahat ng maging army, kahit minsan toxic yung army mismo na iba. Okay, but I think maganda talaga ang BTS. Okay. Magkwento sa taong handang makinig. Rewatch Big Bang Theory. Yes, I've been rewatching Big Bang Theory for so many years now. It's very good. I love Sheldon. Geraldine, and are you still there?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think if you're a friend of Sheldon, kunyari meron kang Sheldon in real life, matutuwa ka? Kasi yun yung friend mo.
Opo.
Ha? Talaga ba?
Opo, parang nakakatawa. Kasi
Na,
nung napanood ko siya, since science major ako, parang mas naging into science ako dahil sa kanya. So, yung ganun feeling.
Pero alam mo, naiyak ako nung ending nun. Parang dun lang kasi
Opo,
niya na-realize. Iyak ko naiyak no, nung yung sa speech niya. Sabi niya, ganun, yun niya lang na-realize na ano siya, na mahal siya ng mga kaibigan niya.
Sa mga kaibigan niya. Yes.
Oo, grabe. Iyak ko naiyak nun. Sabi ko, yata Sheldon, and walang nariyan. Okay. Pero ang cute ng relationship nila ni Penny. Si Penny lang ang hindi nag-iba ng katawan. Ano? Galing ni Kelly Cuoco. Galing. Sana all ganun ang body. Si Amy ayoko. I mean, hindi least favorite character ko si Amy. Pero tutuwa ako kasi sobrang chika niya kay Sheldon.
Opo. Parang walang character development po si Amy sa whole series.
Parang nga. Dati ayoko kay Wolowitz. Pero favorite ko siya. Ang favorite ko ay
kasi ni Wolowitz.
Noong una, di ba? Pero naging parang good father, sobrang understanding. Siya yung ano ko
favorite siya na napunta siya ng outer space sa trauma niya. Yung trauma niya.
Totoo yun. Grabe trauma niya. Tapos hindi niya nakalimutan niya. Siyempre, gusto niya ng fame.
Yes.
Cute ni Sheldon. Talagang true series, ano. Si Bernadette din, ang laki ng character development. Yung parang sobrang hinang maka-pick up, biglang, wow.
Oo, ma'am. Nagulat ako sa kanya kasi, din pala siya. Yung may degree holder din siya. Like, kila Sheldon.
Oo, sobra. Galing. Kaya lang nalungkot ako kasi hindi nagkaroon talaga si Raj ng someone.
Opo.
Kung sino yung hopeless romantic, yun ang hindi nagkaroon yung awa ko sa kanya.
So, lahat napanood ko po yung last scene nila ng tape.
Tapos, grabe yung kanta. Yung kinanta ng mabagal.
Yung kanta.
Wisit. Nakakalo. Baka nakakaiyak na yun.
Tsaka parang minadali kasi talaga nila yung ending.
Ano?
Yung ending po nila.
Sabi kasi si ano daw eh. Oo, totoo yun,
si
Gerald.
Jim Parsons.
Oo, si Jim Parsons.
Malis na po kasi siya eh.
Oo, siya lang naman na nag-ano doon.
Oo, main character.
Siya main character, pag nawala siya, wala, boring.
Opo, sayang din po. Kaya, ayun, nakakalungkot. Pero natapos ko siya.
Oo, nakailang ko sa kanya. Rewatch lang ng rewatch. Yun, tsaka Friends. Yung dalawang yun sa akin. At tsaka Modern Family. Na-try mo na ba yung Modern Family?
Yung tinatry ko po ngayon yung sa I Met Your Mother.
Maganda rin yun. Kay Barney Stinson.
Oo. Yung mga napapanood FB na clips. Tapos, nagtutuloy-tuloy sa FB. Pinapanood ko na sa Netflix.
Oo. Yung, nanonood ko ba ng Grey's Anatomy? Yun, hindi ko siya kasi napakalungkot eh.
Ano to, ma'am, parang hindi ko pa kayang i-commit yung sarili ko sa Grey's Anatomy. Napakahaba na.
Oo. Ay, teka, bago kami magkatuluyan ni Geraldine, lahat po ba ay okay na? Okay, so mukhang okay na. Stop ko na yung recording bago kami magkatuluyan ng